Uh-huh. All right, we're live again. Interesting. Okay, so I've started a little bit earlier this time. I'm on a bit of a hard timeline for this morning. So I thought if I start a little earlier, that should give me a little bit of flexibility. And I have had an interesting week. I've been kind of going back to fundamentals in a lot of ways. I've been digging deep into a lot of copywriting books and really mapping out my promotions for the year. So I've got my coffee. And yeah, I had an email from one of the people that I'm promoting their stuff as an affiliate, sort of asking me if I need any help, if they can help me with anything, because I've just kind of sort of signed up as an affiliate for them, which is interesting because as I was been thinking about where my business is evolving this year, and within that, hey Rajesh, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Um, and we've got an interview coming up on next week, haven't we? So we'll see even more of each other. You'll be sick of my face by the time we finish, Rajesh. So yes, that's been interesting. So I've been mapping out what I do this year, and I think I've maybe mentioned this before, but it's probably worth reiterating: is that 50% of success is being organized, and I've seen this with working with clients where I'm helping managing their advertising, and it's probably been more pronounced when I'm really kind of brought in to do one specific thing, because it's like, somebody's reached out to me and said, can you help me with the advertising, then that's fine. But typically what they're asking for is management. And then when you get into it, actually you realize that actually they don't need, that's not correct, they do need an advertising manager, but actually what they also need is a business coach. And I'm finding that it's really interesting because I've kind of just like, people reached out who know me and said, can you help me? And I've gone, yeah, sure. So, I've helped them because they're friends. And then you get into it and it's like, actually, there's so many things they don't have in place that they need in place before you can make any of it work. And so it's been really interesting that actually what they really needed was a business coach or a consultant, more than they actually needed an advertising manager. And that's been fascinating. And one of the things that's come out of it is this idea that, 50% of success is literally being organized. And they're just so disorganized. Not as that's not a criticism. That's just, I think we all, and I've been through all this, we all fall into business. Unless you've grown up in an entrepreneurial family where you were surrounded by people who've built and grown businesses their whole lives, there is no reason why you would know any of this. Like, it's not genetic. You're not born with an entrepreneurial gene. So, when you kind of fall into business, you just, from my part, I just kind of assumed that business was, oh, you just start with an idea and you get going. But actually, this whole idea that business is common sense, it's not common sense. I mean, the stats tell you otherwise. The stats clearly show that it's uncommon sense, because the only people who succeed it's uncommon. Success is uncommon. It is not the norm. The number of people who go into business, the number of people who actually make a full-time living from it is small. The number of people within that group of people making a full-time living who actually make six figures a year is even smaller. And the number of people within that group that even get to seven figures a year is tiny. So it's extraordinary. I mean, obviously the numbers have grown in the sense of, you'll see more and more people online now who are making a good solid 6 and 7 figures, but you see more of them because of the internet, and therefore the size of the pie has grown. But I don't actually believe the percentage of people that is doing extremely well has changed much in the last 40 years, regardless of the internet or otherwise. I think there are more opportunities, but the same problems exist. And most of those problems are in here. And most of those problems are related to learning the distinctions that you need to learn. And going back to, I don't know, pre-2016, 2013, perhaps 2013. I think I'd need to double check with Ket. Ket's not around. Ket and I and another good friend of ours, John, who sadly died a few years back, were running the UK's government's loan scheme for young entrepreneurs. And so, we were basically running all sorts of marketing, and we were doing an event every Saturday for young entrepreneurs. And, we'd have about 200 young entrepreneurs in the audience every single Saturday, and we were talking to them. And as the scheme developed, it went from kind of let's get out there and just give people a £10,000 loan and get them starting their business. And let's teach them how to create a job, not find a job. And that'll help the unemployment figures, which it would, and it does. And then as it evolved, And there was more money being handed out. And of course, there was more accountability needed from the suits. So therefore, the government suits came in like, no, they all got to have a business plan. It's like, okay, so we'll give them a business plan template and we'll say, go create a business plan. So off they went. And, these youngsters, and I say youngsters, they were anything from sort of 25 upwards, 25 to 35, I would say, majority of them. And they'd come back and they'd had these business plans. And literally, I remember sitting down one evening. John had sent me this whole bunch of stuff, and it was like, he said, can you go through these? And there was literally, I kid you not, there was at least 400 business plans that he wanted me to go through in an afternoon. And it looked overwhelming. As I started getting into it, it actually got quicker and quicker and quicker. And it didn't take me that long to get through all 400. And you know why? They were all the same. What I mean by that is there was a pattern that I noticed very quickly, which was there'd be a question in the business plan, and it was immediately, oh, these people have grown up with the internet, they've gone online, they found Google, they typed in the question, for the first answer that's come up, they've put in their business plan. That is literally how these people were filling it out. So as a document to help them actually build or start or grow a business, useless. And I still maintain that your typical business plan in the standard traditional sense, which unfortunately is still taught in schools and universities. And, if you go and buy a book on business planning off Amazon or in a bookshop, they all follow this process. They're useless, in my humble opinion. Obviously I can be proved wrong. I know that. But in my humble opinion, they're useless because they don't get anybody thinking correctly. In other words, they don't get them thinking about the things that are relevant to them starting out. So more importantly, it's like, can you get someone thinking the right way? So if you can get someone thinking the right way, then they are moving down the right path. And that's where a business canvas really comes in. So, we were showing these kids this. And so I literally, as I say, we had a day, we'd all get up and we'd all do a little section each that we pre-approved. And so I literally got up and said, look, let me share this with you. Forget your business plan. Your business plan is there purely to raise finance. So look at it in those terms. Ignore everything in it other than, is that document helping you get the money you want? So if you've got to go to a bank and the bank saying, we need a business plan, then fill one out. But understand the only reason you're filling it out is to satisfy somebody in the bank so they give you the money that you want. That's it. From a practical, this is what you're going to follow to actually grow your business, it is frigging useless. So Business Canvas, on the other hand, is superb because it gets you thinking. I did a YouTube video a couple of weeks ago, and it was quite popular actually relative to, the number of people who view my videos. So, and it was popular in the sense of, I talked about two ways of thinking for clarity and then thinking in terms of getting out your own way. And thinking for clarity means having the distinctions, the insights to know what to think about. Whatever it is, like if you were going to become, a world-class javelin thrower, I can guarantee if I sat down with an Olympic javelin thrower, we could very quickly pull out things that they think about and that they focus on what we had no idea existed because we're not javelin throwers. But if you want to be that good, you would need to understand the things they think about. I guess another way of looking at it, Robert Kiyosaki's book, where he talked about financial intelligence, to be financially well off or to be financially secure, you need to have some level of financial intelligence so that you know what you need to focus on in the first place. So a business canvas is a great way of getting you to focus on the right things. And that's the importance of it. So yeah, totally, Rajesh. I agree. Yeah, if you want to make God laugh, if you want to make God laugh, show her your plans. Remember, it's like sign of the times. Show her your plans. So quick question. Let me put this up. What web online conference platform do you personally recommend? Zoom, StreamYard, Microsoft Teams. Hopin, never heard of that one, Rajesh. Microsoft Teams, I know my kids are using it because it's in through the schools and so on. Seems all right. I've never used it on a regular basis. StreamYard obviously serves a great purpose. It allows me to stream to Facebook, YouTube. Actually allows me to stream to my Facebook page, my Facebook group, and YouTube all at the same time, which I think is fantastic. It does allow you to have guests, so it's certainly adequate as a web conference platform. And Zoom, obviously Zoom, I think has become a superb tool through the pandemic because they've sort of addressed all the things that they needed to address in the sense of what people wanted from it and told them we need from it. So they sorted it out from security issues through to, I think one of the great things they've done, like if I was running a virtual event, like a whole day's event, I'm probably more inclined to use Zoom because of the breakout rooms. Like, I like the idea of getting people into separate rooms where they can do exercises, where I can drop in. I think that that's a great facility for that kind of event. I think if I was doing a webinar as a pitch, then I don't think there's any difference. Zoom, StreamYard, I don't think it makes any difference anymore. In fact, I'd be more inclined to use StreamYard simply because I've got it. It's a good, I like it. It's a good tool. It's a stable tool. So I like to do that. Right, let me, hold on. What's this one, Rajesh? What advice you could use to start when don't have any money or capital invest? I would say, first of all, it's about resourcefulness, not resources. So that's about thinking. And therefore that ties in nicely with bringing up the canvas. So let me bring this up. I've got about 20 minutes max. So we may end up doing this over another video as well, over another live stream. But I wanted to get this started. Actually, if you want more detail on it, go check out the Freedom Map training that I did, because it's based around this. So you can go and look at that and get another insight into it, because I guarantee that there is never a time where I do 2 presentations on the same topic and they're ever the same. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, I don't script anything. I just talk about whatever I talk about at that time. Let me just grab this. If I slide, no, file. How do I put it in a new window? I'm just trying to bring up my Freedom share. No, play. That's it. Play slideshow in a window. There we go. Okay. Let me make that window a little bit smaller. Hold on. Apologies. It's taking a little bit of time to get this sorted out. Play in a window. Yes. Is that my window? That's my window. Okay, right. Now, let me just move that out the way a second. I need to share that on here. So click share, share screen, share an application window. That's the one. All right. Oh, you should be able to see a blank slide next to my face. Right. Now, let me bring up the blank slide. There we go. Let me bring that in a little bit. So this is a business canvas. Now, what I like about a business canvas, and by all means, if you want a copy of it, then what I suggest is go to the Freedom Map. I'll find the link for it somewhere. If you go to the Freedom Map on my site, and just if you're not already a customer of mine, this is free anyway. Then just create an account so you get into the members area, and you can see it and you can go through it. Yeah, there it is. This one, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. Can I can post a comment. Okay. Does that work? Yep. Show that. Yeah. If you go there, then you'll get you can get full training on this. Full by the sense of, I did about an hour's free training on the business canvas. So which is why I thought it'd be useful to share it here. But anyway, so let me kind of give you an insight into, I'll leave that up for now. An insight into this. Where's it gone? Where we gone? There we are. Right. Now, what I like about the canvas is it's on one page. So it is literally one page, not a 70-page business plan, which is of no value and nobody ever looks at it. It is one page. All the things on it are all the things you need to be aware of and to focus on to grow a business. So if it's not on here and you're starting out, don't worry about it, because it's not relevant. Like that old phrase from Errol used to tell me time and time again, all distractions are equal. So if it's not on this page, it's a distraction. So ignore it. What I also like about the canvas is the original canvas is from the guy, I think it was Steve Blanks and his guys, I think originally put the idea together when they came up with the concept of the canvas. Steve Blanks, very successful entrepreneur, now teaches entrepreneurship, I think at Berkeley in California. I think it's that university. And so he wanted a way to kind of not so much help people be more successful, because he didn't believe there was a magic formula for success, but he did believe that he could help reduce the number of failures. And that's how he looked at it. So this kind of came out of that. I then took it. What I like about it is it's on one page, and then there are a number of pieces that you need to focus on. Each piece is something that's relevant to you in your business. But the pieces are also deliberately sized, as in the bigger the box, because it's number of boxes, the more important it is. Now, I took the original canvas, so by all means, go check out the original one. I took it and I kind of adapted it for me for being online. So it's like, what do I need online? So then I changed it and I changed the focus of it to teach it. So in other words, this is the first box. This is the biggest box on my canvas, sales conversion event. And the reason that I did that was to remind you that the most important aspect of your business is how are you making sales? Because if you've not got that answered, most people tend to start with, I've got this idea, I want to reach these people. Then they start getting in their own way with all the stuff around. I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to be a hard seller. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the other. And it's like, yeah, that's all great. And that doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve your clients because you're never actually going to have any. So start with that in the first place. Let me move that out of the way. Not sure what that is. Okay. So start with your sales conversion event. So within this, of course, it's like, how are you going to make sales? Is it a sales letter? Is it a video sales letter? Is it a webinar of some sort? Is it a live stream? Is it an email promotion? It's like, what is it? Is it a launch sequence? It's like, you've got to decide in advance what you're going to start with. Now, of course, remember the other thing about a business canvas is it's a great way for you to see how things evolve because that phrase that Rajesh just put up, if you want to make God laugh, show your plans. Absolutely. And then, the old thing, the sort of twist on Mike Tyson's thing about everyone has a plan till he gets smacked in the face. It's that same idea, no plan survives contact with a customer. But the great thing about a business canvas is you are putting down on paper in the beginning your best guess. And then what you're doing is you're going out in the real world and finding out if your best guess is right. And based on feedback, you change your canvas. That's what's great about it. Like in NLP, the whole idea of the ultimate success formula, know what you want, know your outcomes. You're very clear what your goal is. That doesn't change. Know what you want, know why you want it, because obviously we're emotional creatures. And then the third part is take action. So you take action in order to get feedback. You get feedback in order to change your approach. So you go, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I believe this is going to work. So off you go. Then you get into the real world and get some feedback and go, actually, it's not working the way I thought it would. So then you go, okay, what needs to change? And then you adopt and adjust your approach. Then you go again. It's like you will learn so much more by taking action than you ever will about overthinking something. So you could spend the next 10 years trying to perfect your business canvas before you get started in the real world. That wouldn't serve you. Or you could spend the next 20 minutes putting together a business canvas and say, let's go. Literally, let's go. Like this morning, I put up some new headlines. And literally, they're just new headlines. I wanted to test some ideas for headlines without the kind of, oh my God, we got to build this whole sales funnel. Oh, we got to create this page. It's like, no, I don't. I just want to know which of these headlines is going to perform the best, which is going to get the most clicks. So it was literally create 7 headlines on 7 Post-it note type images. So it's literally yellow backgrounds with one headline on them. And then I've set up an advertising campaign and it's up and running this morning. So there's 7 different headlines at the moment, all running. They're all running now. And over the next few days, I'll find out which ones have performed well, which ones are worth pursuing, and which ones are worth dropping. But I'd rather do that and go, okay, these ones worked. So these are worth going to the next level with. In other words, it's worth then creating a landing page with the same message on it and therefore generating leads that way, rather than wasting time trying to create all these different landing pages and all these different messages, only to find out that half of them were useless anyway. And so you just wasted your time doing things that weren't relevant. And that's what I like about the canvas. It's like, okay, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, have something up and running. Just decide, because you can change it. Don't be worried about failing. If you're worried about failing, you'll never be successful. So sales letter, video sales letter, webinar, live stream, email promotion. What is it? Pick something. And tied in with this, I should add this actually in the notes, or if you're copying this, what are you selling? Like literally, what are you selling? Like the number of times I've asked people and they have no idea. I've seen some ornate, in the sense of, 70-page business plans from young entrepreneurs. And I read through it and I go, I don't know what you're selling. I've got no idea how you actually generate money from this. And when I've asked them, it's like they didn't know either. Or I've had, like when we used to do live events, and even this last couple of weeks, people that should know better. And I'm saying to them, okay, what is it you're actually selling? And how are you selling it? Because if you can't tell me that, running ads to it is completely irrelevant, because you're just going to spend money on ads and have nothing to show for it. It's like, so what is it? So what are you selling? Some idea. Now, it may be that you don't know what you're selling. That's fine. So come up with some ideas and test them, because ultimately you want to sell what the marketplace wants to buy. Simple as that. It's like there was a post on LinkedIn yesterday about hypey headlines and all this sort of stuff, people pushing things, and it's like, yeah, hypey headlines not as effective anymore because the marketplace got more sophisticated. But the other flip side of it is you've got to lead with something that your audience will respond to. So I know things that I know the people I want to help don't know. And that's why they need help, because they don't know stuff. But if I say, come to me to get X, and they go, I don't even know what X is or why I would need it, are they likely to come to me? No. So I got to lead with something they have an awareness of to get them in the door, to then be able to educate them on the things they need to know. So start with, what is he selling? How are you going to sell it? Then customer, what do they want? Like, who is the customer? Because it isn't everybody. So again, what I like about the canvas, you can have 5 copies of this canvas and you do it 5 different times in the next 30 minutes where you put in a different customer. So you go, oh, what if it was like, let's say, for example, it was generic. Let's say I put in, it's an online entrepreneur. Okay, what do they want? And then I do another canvas, literally, I spend another 5 minutes going, more specific than an online entrepreneur. Maybe it's an online affiliate entrepreneur. Like they're only affiliates. They only sell products they don't own. Great. Now does that change the other boxes on the canvas? Of course it would. Or I look at it and go, they're e-commerce store owners, they're Shopify owners. Does that change the canvas? Of course it does. So who are you promoting to? Who do you want to work with? So what do your customers want? Which comes back to the whole map the gap stuff, which I've talked about before. Then problems, what's stopping them? So what do they want? What's stopping them? And again, what's great about this is you might look at it and go, I don't know what's stopping them. Well, great. Because now you don't know. So what do you do about it? You go do some research. That's what you do about it. You go talk to the people you want to serve and find out, get under their skin, get in their head, understand the conversation going on in their head. What is it that's getting in the way? Go on, like if there's a Facebook group related to it, like I got a friend of mine who runs a very successful group on Facebook, well over 5,000 people, and it's all centered on coaches and therapists. And more importantly, when you dig into it, and actually I did some work for him, and I got in there and started looking at his group, and I was specifically researching who were the people in the group. And the majority of people in the group turned out to be female. And the majority of people in the group also liked Brené Brown. So all of a sudden I had an insight into these people that he hadn't been aware of before. So it's like, but reading their posts, reading what he posts, reading their responses to his posts gives me a massive insight into what's going on in their head and what problems they're facing. In other words, you can be a detective. You can deduce what somebody is struggling with based on the answers to their questions. I think I've talked about this before, where if somebody asks me a question, I'm interested in not just the question and answering the question, but I'm interested in why are they asking that question? Because why they're asking that question highlights potentially what's missing in their skills gap, what's missing in their knowledge gap, what's missing in their beliefs. And all of that is valuable to me to help me understand what's getting in the way, what's stopping them, what problems are they facing. And that's research. I'm a regular. Do you recommend Steal Our Winners? I love Steal Our Winners. I would recommend it to anybody because I think it opens your mind to different ways of solving the same problem. And I think there's always value in that, so that's the value of a mastermind, pure and simple. So would I recommend it? I would say I recommend it on the caveat that you listen to it, you learn from it, and you pick some up and run with it. Like take the ideas and put them on this canvas, for example. That would make sense. Okay, so let me keep going because I've got about 5-10 minutes and we may have to come back to this. Where's my little presentation? Right, so customers, what problem? So if you put, as I say, great thing about this, if you put what's stopping them and you don't know, now you don't know, so go do the research. You've got to find out. So go do it and put a deadline on that. I know for me, I can spend weeks doing research if I allowed myself. And it's that whole thing of more time you give people, the longer they'll take to do it. And so I have to put deadlines on myself. It's like, I need to know this within 2 days max, boom, go. And at the end of 2 days, like, right, move on to the next step, because you will learn more by doing than you ever will about just overthinking. Then channels to customer, where will you find them? This is a question that when we were doing the stuff with the young entrepreneurs, most of them would look at me blankly. It's like, I don't know, as if they just somehow customers would just magically appear. They won't. So you've got to understand, where will you find them? Now, you could say generically, first thought might be, well, I'll find them on Facebook. Probably there's billions of people. I'll find them on YouTube. Probably there's even more billions of people. So, but then more specifically, so drill down into it. Where will you find them? If you're going to find them on Facebook, then okay, you might want to start looking at Facebook and saying, okay, the people on here, what sort of things would they like? What kind of groups would they be members of? And drill down into it that way. But you've got to think about how you're going to find these people. You've got to have a way to access them. So if you come up with some great profile of a customer, but you have no way of reaching them, do you have a business? No, not at all. Because of course, if you can't reach them, you can't make them aware that you exist. You can't help them because neither of you will be able to find each other. It's like you both wander around blind. So chance customer, where will you find them? Now, excuse me. Now you get into your product or your service, however you want to package it, because this is your solution. So first of all, pay attention to how big is the box for your solution compared to all the other boxes. It is deliberately smaller. Why? Because it's not as important as everything else that's on here. So in other words, the point of that is starting with the product, going, oh, I've got this great idea for a product, is the wrong way around. Ideally, you want to start with how you're going to sell it, which immediately brings in, because in order to sell it, you've got to know who your customer is, you've got to know what problems they've got, and you've got to know how to find them. So immediately, all the other boxes are serving the sale. So by the time you get to this, it's like, okay, what would they buy? What do they want to buy? What do they need? What help can I provide? That's where all of this kind of ties together. And I would say as well, if you are starting out and you're saying, I want to create an online business, and you want to go from, say, having been more of an employee type person into, and so when I say employee, I mean either employed directly by somebody else or you've been self-employed. So you've been still exchanging time for money. So if you want to go from exchanging time for money into more of an entrepreneur mindset where you leverage your time and you're not sure what you should sell, think about who you want to serve. Think about perhaps the skills you want to develop, so that you, in other words, skills you would learn on the job. And then tie that into not necessarily your own products, but start with other people's products. Like literally, I think if you're going to build an online business where you're focused on, okay, I want to be better at the marketing side, I want to be better at selling and just generating a revenue and helping people in that way, then one of the great ways to start is by being an affiliate. In other words, sell other people's products. So look at the products you've bought in the past, things that have made a difference for you, things that have helped you, and go, okay, could I be an affiliate for this or products like it, so that I don't have to think about designing a product, writing a product. I can just think about making money online and serving people. And then once you've done that for a little bit of time, it allows you to make money without the hassle of having to create the product, which takes time. It allows you to develop your skills, because primary skills you're going to need obviously are sales skills and marketing skills. Allows you to develop that in the early days. And then of course, at that, it allows you to learn a lot more about your customers as well. So you can create, for example, you create a Facebook group and collect your customers in a Facebook group. Do all of this, learn about your group from the posts that you put in the group and the kind of responses you get. So you're learning more and more and more. And then down the line, like you might say, okay, like I want to do this for 6 to 12 months. And at the end of that, I'm going to create my own products. Great. Because by the time you get around to creating your own products, your understanding of your marketplace will be so phenomenal. Your insights will be so great. You'll have had the chance to refine your skills so that you are in a position where you know how to create a video sales letter or a webinar, whatever it might be, and do it effectively. You know how to write a great marketing campaign. You know how to find your customers. And then, of course, now it's just a question of, okay, let me put this great product in front of them that I believe will solve all of their challenges or whatever it might be. That's a great way of doing it. You can become yes, you can. You can become an affiliate with ClickBank. ClickBank, obviously a mixed bag of products. So just make sure you find the ones that you're either familiar with, that you recommend, that you enjoy. There are things on ClickBank that I look at and that I promote. There's one person in particular who I think his products are fantastic, and I've bought most of them. and I would certainly promote his stuff. So, so yeah, look at it in terms of make sure there's a level of integrity there, because there is a lot of rubbish on ClickBank as well, which is just a reflection of the fact that it's a big marketplace. There are people out there who know enough to be able to get somebody excited who knows very little, who's more ignorant, and they can make some revenue from it. And sadly, that still happens. So yes, bum, 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 keep going. All right, I've got literally 2 minutes. I'm going to have to continue. I don't want to do you a disservice by trying to rush through this. Actually, you know what? I literally have got 2 minutes. So I am going to put this on pause and continue this next week. In the meantime, as I say, go check out actually, what would be really cool is if you go check out the Freedom Map, make time to go through that over the next week. And then next time when we get back, I'll go through this again. As I say, no two presentations are ever the same. There's always more insights as I'm doing more stuff. And also you get an opportunity. We can do more of a Q&A as well with it. So once you've been through it once, you'll probably have a number of questions. If you've been through it once and actually sat down and knocked out 3, 4, 5 different canvases for your own benefit, that will raise a lot more questions for you, which would be very valuable to then bring, and I can answer your questions for you. So let's do it that way. I think that would be the way I can serve you best. I didn't want to miss another week, so I did want to get started with this. So I will put this on hold for now. I will say have a fantastic weekend. What I will do is I will make sure that I put a copy of the canvas up inside the group so you can download it as a PDF. And as I say, and also go check it out on the Freedom Map. Rajesh wants to be able to access the Freedom Map. Can you add it to the Strategic and Unique Core Solutions? If you log in for Rajesh, it should just be there. I'll check. I'll check that you've got access to it anyway. But yes, if otherwise, as I say, go to, where have I put it? Let me go back and get it. Go to here. Yep, go to here and then just create an account and you'll have access to it straight away. Have a watch of it. And then, as I say, more importantly, watch it. There is a PDF inside that Freedom Map training. Download it, make 5 copies of it and do 5 different canvases. Literally just do 5 variations of a canvas where you change things slightly and see what difference it makes. Because the idea is to ultimately start with, I guess, your best guesses and your best version of a business model that is going to serve you. And then you can get started. Because then the next step beyond that, to actually take some action, to actually go do something and get some feedback. Even if that means looking at it and saying, well, if you had no money and you say, well, I want to get started, like, well, build an audience. That's your first point, build an audience. So go find out more about your customers and start building an audience either in Facebook or on YouTube or both. But just start doing that. That's the easiest way if you're not in a position to buy ads. I'm in a position where, yes, I can buy some ads. And more importantly, and this is I'll leave you with this. And you can ask me more questions about it later. To my mind, all advertising should pay for itself straight away. Like I used to work for the Burton Group many, many years ago when I was employed, and in the 3 years I was employed and got fired 3 times back in my 20s when I was arrogant and knew everything. And of course, now I'm in my 50s and I know nothing. So it was interesting in the sense of what I did learn from it was something called point of sale. So, if I went down to check out what was happening in the stores, then because I worked in the IT department, I used to come downstairs in the building and there was a store below in a shopping mall. I used to go into some of the stores and I'd watch what was going on. And obviously people would bring things to the counter to pay for, and then they do upsells at the counter. So there was this whole point of sale, increasing the average value of how much somebody spent. So advertising for me, even if you've only got $1, is that dollar should make you a return at the point of sale, like literally at the point of sale. So to my mind, all advertising should be free. So in other words, and so to give you an idea, like some of the goals I set are, I want to make, say, $100 on average per new customer. So every time I gain a new customer from advertising, whatever I've spent on average for every 100 customers, I want to be bringing in $10,000 profit. So in other words, that advertising is immediately made me a profit, not even break even. It's immediately made me a profit. So something to think about. All right. So I'm going to go, as I say, I'm on a bit of a tight timeline this morning. So I will thank you. And as I say, leave any questions, comments below, either on YouTube or on Facebook. I will come back and do them all. Go check out the Freedom app so you can watch the whole of this, and then we'll talk about it in more detail. And then bring your questions. I will answer your questions. Let's get you rocking and rolling, making some money. Look, it is April already, for frig's sake. So we've already had January, February, March. We're in the 4th month of the year. If you're not on track to make 6 figures this year, then let me kick your frigging butt, because you should be. So watch the bloody thing. Get your questions, map out 5 ideal canvases, play with it. Don't try and overthink it. Just play with it. Put something down, bring it back, send them to me if you want to. I'll have a look at them. And then when we do another call, I will give you some feedback on them. But let's get you rocking and rolling and making 6 figures online, because if you're not, you're missing out. You're missing out. The people that you could serve are missing out because you're not getting your finger out your butt and getting on with it. Don't let your fears get in the way, because if you're afraid of something, I will come around and beat the living crap out of you with my 3rd dan black belt. All for your benefit, of course, all to serve you. So, all right. So I will leave you that. Make sure you haven't eaten too much chocolate, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.